Marcion, or at least some of them.
Were like the early versions of Paul's letters? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we take a look at the reconstructions, the Greek reconstructions of the Evangelion and the Greek reconstructions of the Pauline epistles, and when we run those, when we ran them, they came back as the same author.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah, so it
that,
seems
I
like
mean, that pretty
Evangelion itself
conclusively
might actually
points.
be like a group effort.
So like Marcion got this whole Christianity thing started off then, and
Well,
everything else is
at
just like
least
handpicked.
the mythology portion, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. And I wanted to ask you, do you have any doubt of the historicity of Socrates? Because like Plato and Xenophon both use him in fictional stories. Like they do fictionalize Socrates a lot, and then
Yeah.
Euripides had a fictional version of Socrates as well. So is he just kind of like this character in the mythos, or was he a real guy?
So I would say that it's inconclusive to some extent. Like the people who talk about him are technically contemporaries, but there's some reason to question it. I don't usually get into it too terribly much. I don't even think we talk about Socrates very much at all in like our next book or anything. We more focus on Plato.
Yeah. Um, I've even heard that some of Paul's writing is just straight ripping off Plato. I haven't looked into that claim myself, but I have heard that claim. So,
Well,
like
yeah, I
some of the
mean,
duality.
yeah, there are teachings and everything like that within the New Testament, even within the Pauline epistles, that we see are just kind of echoes of stuff in the past. I mean, even if this stuff is real, all these people are just like, even if Paul really existed, even if Jesus really existed, all they're doing is they're just rehashing old bullshit. There's nothing. There's nothing. They don't focus too much on being original. Like they're just kind of con men, if you will. I would say if Jesus and Paul existed, they'd be like Joseph Smith, just someone who is taking from previous ideas and trying to package it together and present it as being theirs. But we don't even have any evidence to suggest that they existed. There's evidence to say that they didn't. So I don't usually make that connection a lot.
Oh, okay. Uh, and I was going to mention yesterday, I was the one in the chat that asked about the whole Gabriel stone thing. And I'd never even heard about the Gabriel stone. What was funny is I was trying to see if you had any like video essay format stuff on YouTube, and I searched Christ before Jesus, and it gave me
The
the
Gabriel
Gabriel
stone.
stone stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I found out about that. But
Yeah,
yeah, that was pretty
the word
interesting.
Christ is not on the Gabriel stone, but people associate. Well, okay, it's because people called Jesus the Christ. They call that character the Christ. So therefore, a Christ figure does what Jesus does in their minds.
Right.
So if there's
Right.
a text that seems a little bit like Jesus, then that must be a Christ. And it's like, no, but sure, whatever. At the end of the day, if you want to say that it's a Christ before Jesus, if you want to say that it's a character that has similarities to the story of Jesus, either way you look at it, it's still something that came out before that shows that there's this like Gnostic idea that gets lifted for some of the narratives for Jesus,
Yeah.
regardless of if they call that character a Christ or not.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Also, one thing I'd like to hear your thoughts on, like, I'd really like to hear you go in deep on it. Is I'm glad you didn't say like my mom, but
You were just
is
thinking it there, Sigmund Freud.
hey, he was right about one thing. I am trying to smash my mom, but
Whoa, it's getting a little Oedipusy up in here.
yeah. So the grandparents of Jesus, we have Matthew says that Joseph's father is, I can't remember right now. And then Luke says, it's a totally different person. We have the two genealogies. And the apologetic answer I hear all the time, which literally drives me insane, is, oh, one of them is Mary's genealogy. That's clearly not true. It lists Joseph as the person directly above Jesus in both of those genealogies. So it's going through Joseph's line.
Not to mention, even if you want to say that that's, like a misprint or mistranslation, well, unfortunately, the proto-evangelist of James does give the name of Mary's parents, and they're not the same names.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, even within Christianity, there's a genealogy, if you will, of Mary, and that's very different from these two different genealogies of Joseph.
So what's going on there, like, with the genealogies? Like,
it's probably more that Luke tried to correct Matthew because Matthew has a fucked up line.
Yeah.
Because I think Matthew tries to say that Jesus was from a person who was cursed, and so Luke tries to say that it's a different route. He takes a different route.
Okay.
Pretty sure that's what that is.
And I've heard Dan McClellan talk about the whole 14 generations thing, and then whenever you actually count them, there's only 13 people named from the Abraham to David segment. Like, there's a name missing.
If you're just now figuring out that the Christians or the authors of the Gospels, at least, were not that bright.
Yeah.
I mean, we have some issues. I mean, like, they're clearly very incorrect on certain time in certain verses and on certain concepts. So.
And one final question before I hop out. Where would you place yourself on the D&D alignment chart?
The D&D alignment chart?
Yeah, like lawful good, chaotic evil.
Oh, there. You know what? Here, let me bring that up. So, I would place myself somewhere around either chaotic neutral or chaotic good.
Okay, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, that's probably what I would. That's probably where I would place myself. So there you go.
All right, man. You have a good day.
All right, thanks. Chaotic righteousness.